All right, chips of the day. We have a bunch of them here. They're all the same. These are OP-06s. Now, a lot of people are familiar with, well, at least I am, familiar with OP-07s, a very famous part. These are OP-06s. There's a whole bunch of OPs. These are old parts. I think if you wanted a modern equivalent of this, you would get an OP-27. Which is a better version of this. These are no longer made. These are real nice ones. These are in the hermetic packages. These are ceramic packages. So these are like the real deal from the old days. Let's see, where's my magnifying glass? These have 1988 date codes on them. So that's pretty cool. So what are they? The OP-06 is a high gain instrumentation operational amplifier. So it's an op-amp. It's a single op-amp, and its claim to fame is its voltage gain, which is 1,000 volts per millivolt. Okay, so 1,000,000 to 1 a voltage gain, low voltage offsets, 120 dB common mode rejection, blah 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 blah. And this is what it looks like. It's all bipolar. So here's the input stage. There is two diodes. So these are NPN transistors with the base tied to the collector, and that makes them into a diode. So back-to-back diodes on the input. You'd see a lot of those to protect the swing. Make sure the swing, the input, negative input, positive output do not go too far apart. A bunch of current mirrors here. This is a big current mirror, so you have all these mirrors set up in here at different resistances, so different currents. But there's one master current setter. And then if you noticed here where it says frequency compensation, in a lot of op amps there'll be a capacitor right there, and there's no capacitor in this part. So it's up to you to make sure you put the capacitor on the outside. Otherwise the thing's going to sing. It's going to be oscillating. Reading about these parts, what they seem to be good at is, because they have such a high gain, you can use them for very high gain situations, you know, op amps for photodiodes and things like that, where you need really, really high gain. But because they have super high gain, they cross the threshold of whether you use an op-amp or you use a comparator. You know, what's the difference between an op-amp and a comparator? Well, a comparator has super, super high gain and no compensation. It just goes whack, 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 and because the gain is so high, and they're a little bit hard to make into a an op-amp. Op-amps are the opposite. Op-amps have that internal capacitor, which makes them slow, and they don't switch very fast, and so they're not great comparators. But this particular part, even though it's a instrumentation grade op-amp, can act as a really good comparator. So that's what we're going to do today. Okay, I am going to show you a crude version and then a fancy version, and then we'll do both. So here I have an op-amp set as a comparator. And so let's go over here. Let me adjust the camera a bit. This is our input, and it's going to go across the threshold, ground, and it's going to flip high and then flip low, and then flip high and then flip low. And what is outside? Something noisy is outside. All right, while they grind up a tree branch, I'm going to build this, so I won't have the noise in the background. I'm going to go build this on my own, and so I'm going to build this circuit, and we'll talk about it after they get done trimming the damn tree. All right, the tree trimming seems to be over. So this is my input signal, and this is the output signal, right? And it's going through a 10-to-1 divider, so this is going plus or minus 10 millivolts, but on the part it's actually 1 millivolt. If I move my scope probe over to the input, you can see that it's only one millivolt. So I go to 1 millivolt per scale. You can see that it's just plus minus 1. All right, so let me go back to over here because it makes it a little bit cleaner if you use a divider. All right, so we have 1 millivolt coming in and we're digitizing just fine. So one of the nice things about this also is that you can digitize small signals, okay? And I think you can get it down to around 100, maybe even 50 microvolts to have it swing if everything is adjusted quite right, and do a null offset and all that other kind of stuff. We can sort of play with mine a bit here. See if I go here to waveform generator and I put on the amplitude. Okay, so we've got amplitude as this knob here now. And let's close this. So you can see that at really small amplitudes, it's not really doing its job. And you can see that it also has a DC offset. So I would need to do a null on this part, put in a resistor and do a null offset on it. But you can see here we can get it to start digitizing. I mean, even that's like digitizing. And if we go up here to, I mean, that's it. See, this is at 3 millivolts, plus or minus 3 millivolts, which means it's 300 microvolts at the input. If I move over to the input, you can see it's, oops, where's my scope probe? There it is. You can see that it's super, super tiny. So remember, it gets divided down by 10. So if we come up here, so it's kind of digitizing 50-50. Now we're up around the 1 millivolt range, but it does digitize. It does digitize way down here. That's almost 2.5, so that's like 250 microvolts right there, even without the DC offsets and all that kind of stuff. Now it is susceptible to certain things. It's on a breadboard. Everybody complains about my circuits on breadboards. I do it because it's very, very quick, and it usually is okay. But if you want to run things at high speed or low currents or switching transients and all that kind of stuff, yeah, you should actually do a PC board. So to make everybody happy, I'm going to do a PC board today. They'll probably complain about that too. People love to complain. It makes them feel good. I'm started a bit while the tree was being trimmed. I've started on my board here. Now this has 100-to-1 attenuator built in. So let's look at the circuit here. So this is our circuit. We have a 100-to-1 attenuator, which is a 1K and a 10 ohm. That's 100-to-1. We have a 50 ohm load, so we can drive this thing. It's function generator. We can drive it into 50 ohms and then go from there. There's this strange series resistance here that I don't quite understand yet, but I've put it in the circuit. I have a 1K in here as a placeholder somewhere. This paper doesn't really explain it too well, but they used a 2K in some places, but I thought 1K was fine. The plus and the minuses are buffered. There's a 15K resistor and a 0.1 microfarad, and it talks about that to reduce noise and stuff. So, and I've left off this part, which it really isn't necessary. It's also a way to drive more current. We'll just look at the output of the comparator, okay? So let me kind of show you on here. Let me grab a capacitor. I was having some fun. Where's a good capacitor? Here's one. This is a 0.01. So everybody thinks by adding capacitors to your power supplies, everything gets better, right? Let me put a capacitor here on negative V. Okay, I'm running plus and minus 12 volts. I'll put it on minus V. And everything still looks the same. Here's no capacitor. And then with capacitor, everything is fine. We find another capacitor. I'm going to do the same thing to the grab capacitor. I'm going to do the same thing to the plus 15 supply. I'll put a capacitor on that one. And you can see that all hell breaks loose. So power supplies are a funny thing. So sometimes capacitors are good, sometimes capacitors are bad. This new circuit has a 15 ohm resistor in series, which filters it, whereas this, it can add a little bit of ability to bounce, right? There's no buffer there, so you can kind of bounce off that. Anyway, I'm not explaining it well, but just word of warning, sometimes adding capacitors isn't always the panacea that you might think it is. All right, so let's go and see if we can't make my new circuit work. All right, let's disconnect all of the things on this board. And we will bring in the new board. And we need plus V and minus V and ground. Also be down there. We need our input signal, which we'll put here. And ground. And we need a scope probe, which we'll put on the input. Put it here. And I'll put on the output. Where's the output? The output's over here. I'll put on the output. Let me show you a trick that I do. People are going to say, oh, you can't do that. Yeah, it's not ideal, but I do it anyway. I have this one micro grabber that has just a loop on it. So if I'm trying to get to one ground point and I have too many things trying to clip on there, I bring this out and then I can clip. I can clip the ground, I can clip that ground, I can bring in my other scope probe, I can clip that ground. It just makes it easy. It does add length to the ground, and yes, there'll be noise and bounce and stuff, but for just checking things out, it's going to be fine. This is going to go on the input. We'll go over here to the input. All right, it's not cooperating. Come on, you can do it. All right, let's turn on the power. Okay, there we go. All right, so we're going to come over here to the oscilloscope again, and you can see what's going on here. So it's not digitizing at all because we don't have much amplitude, because we have a 100-to-1 divider now, right? So let's make this amplitude. There we go. We're starting to get something now. So if we're at, here's 50, I'm watching it right here, 50 millivolts. Doesn't matter. We can just do it here. So we're doing plus or minus 25 millivolts. We're digitizing OK. Plus or minus 50 gets divided down to 100. So that would be 500 microvolts. So we're operating at 500 microvolts here. Let's see when it starts to just not do anything at all. Right around 23, which is 230 microvolts, it's not working. And I need to have that DC offset in here, which I haven't added. The schematic shows a null, and I should put that null in there next. But our circuit is working, and it is doing just fine. We get a nice square digitization around 40 millivolts, which is 400 microvolts. So there you go. That's pretty good. Let me add that. I need a 20K potentiometer for the null offset. So let me see if I can find that. Okay, so I've added a 20K trim pot as per the schematic, and now I've adjusted it so we have very little offset, and we can run our signal down quite small, and we're still digitizing, and we are right at about 5 millivolts peak to peak, which is 5 millivolts divided by 100 is 50 microvolts, right? Yeah, right at about 50 microvolts. So I think the data sheet is right. You can get down to right about 30. Oh man, I need more gain here so I can read off the number better. This is 40 microvolts. And 35 microvolts would be right about there. Yep, it's just barely working. So yeah, pretty nice. This is 300 microvolts and it's working just great. If you want to see me adjust it here, this is the offset, right? So if I do the DC offset, it needs to be right, we're talking microvolts, right? Tens of microvolts. So right about there, it's 50-50. Now we can go way, way, way down. Yeah, see. If we go way down, it's still, there's a little bit of DC offset. So let me see if I can adjust it a little bit better down here. Oh man, it's just barely. I need a 10-turn pot. Anyway, somewhere around in there. We're talking 22 microvolts right there. So that's pretty darn good. 35 microvolts would be right about there, and it's working great. Nice. Okay, well that's kind of a long chip of the day. An OP-06 op amp.